6 o'clock. Calling the Select Board Sewer Commissioners meeting, special meeting to order. Roll call, Jay,
Here.
Pat,
Here.
Raj,
Yes.
Mark,
Here.
and I am here. Old business, so consider the vote to take it on April 24th, 2024, placing the following ballot question on the June 4th, 2024 annual election warrant. One second, folks, sorry. Shall the town of West Boylston be allowed to assess an additional $5 million in a real estate and personal property taxes for the purposes of operating government, public schools for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024. So that was the question put on the warrant.
I'll make a motion to reconsider the question.
I'll second.
That was Jay seconding?
Correct.
Okay. Jen, based on the information, sorry, Jen, I'm looking for you in here. The information you have.
I'm here.
Oh. So we're making a motion to reconsider what we're placing on the ballot.
Yep, so I received information on Thursday after your meeting that the school number was $2 million.
Okay.
Do we need to vote on the initial motion to reconsider or just reconsider with a new motion?
I think you can combine them one to reconsider it with a new motion.
All right, then I will make a motion to place on the ballot. Shall the town of West Boylston be allowed to assess an additional $4 million in real estate tax and personal property taxes for the purpose of operating municipal government and public schools for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024?
Second.
Discussion?
What do you mean by additional 4 million?
Instead of 5 million, the number's 4.
I heard the motion was additional 4 million.
Yep.
Right, the initial motion. Go ahead, Raj. I mean, Jay.
The initial proposal was to add an additional $5 million to the ballot. The new proposal is to rescind that and replace 5 million with 4 million.
So, okay. My second question is, is there how come within a couple of days, it becomes 5 to 4? Is there any explanation on that, or?
Do you have a member of?
Hi, good evening. Yes, the adjustment was made after recalculating the 2.82% town contribution into the base formula. We also made some adjustments in our transportation and tuition projections as well.
Raj, any further question? Does that answer your question?
So that's $1 million?
Projected, yes.
Can you repeat your question, Raj? That didn't.
Is that $1 million?
$1 million what? That's not a question. It seems more like a statement.
So it is to 3 million to 2 million. It's came down to 2 million. So
Yep.
that means it's $1 million. So we are getting it from the town, or is it from the school? They have the $1 million. So earlier it was 3 million. On last Wednesday we voted for 3 million. Now it is 2 million. That's why I'm asking. That whatever he said. 2.5%. Can you say that again one more time, please?
An expected contribution from the town, an additional 2.82% over the next 5 years. Going back into the foundation budget for FY25. Projections will be based upon that.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead. Well, first, I'd like to, Raj, did you understand that answer?
Somewhat.
What don't, just so we don't have anything looming. So it sounds, if I hear you correctly, when you had originally done the math, you're doing it based on, and Jen, or if we have our town accountant on here, you guys annually get from us a 2 point whatever increase. So you're doing that calculation, and that is why you've lowered it by $2 million. We'll lower it by
Well,
$1 million
yes.
to 2.
This year, the contribution was, I believe, 2.17% at about 300,000. And then we've been asked to build in 2.82% for the successive years.
All right, I guess I have two questions.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You only have your finger up for one, so I'm only going to take one, Mark. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh wait, which finger? Sorry. So the plan, when we were talking about what we were going to do for this override, the select board kind of wanted to make this something that was good for, like you said, 5 years. Are you thinking that your budget change or whatever it's going to be is still good for 5 years, or are you going to be seeking an override sooner than 5 years?
I could not speak accurately to that at this point. These are projections, and as those who've been to our budget meetings know, we have significant uncontrolled costs that weave in and out of our fiscal year each year. These are based upon projections. We have a lot of things up in the air, as every school district does at this point. So could I guarantee that? No. Would it be the goal? Obviously, yes.
So that was the consideration, was for 5 years.
Yes.
Okay, good. And then I guess, I don't know, Chris or Jen, is this 2.82, is that a thing we think is a good idea?
That's the 2.82% is the average over the last 10 years. The average annual increase year over year for the last 10 years.
Okay, in their half of the budget or whatever it is, 50, whatever percent. Okay.
The town's contribution to their, so what the town contributes to their budget has been increased on average 2.82% year over year over the last 10 years.
Okay. Is Chris here representing the FinCom or something, or just visiting?
Just
Listen.
visiting.
Okay. Has FinCom looked at this to say whether this is, and given advice?
What looked at what, Mark?
Just the change to their, however they constructed their estimate earlier, now they're constructing, they've changed it. Has FinCom considered that or looked at that, or do they have an opinion?
Well, FinCom wouldn't really look at it to come up with an opinion on how it's derived, because the school prepares their budget outside of our purview.
Okay.
We would, we hope to get some additional numbers to be able to explain to the citizens at our educational opportunity to dive a little deeper into that, the sources and uses on the education side, because that is half the town's budget. So, make sense?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. No, I was looking to make the best decision we can make tonight.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
One more question it's for Jen. Jen, is that this just for me to understand, the 2.87%, is it coming out of the town budget, right?
2.82%. So we looked at, when we were looking at everything, we looked at the past 10 years for everything. And so the average annual increase the town gave to the schools was 2.82% each year over the past 10 years. Hold on
So
one moment. Somebody's in the bill.
Assuming that.
Hold on. Sorry about that. I was like, I don't know who's here. Oh, it's my spouse giving me clothes. Okay. So,
my question is, where that money will be coming from? It's at the town budget, right? Do you think can we, if
Raj,
you don't put it in now?
We're asking a
and-
question about a percentage increase and if we can withstand it. This is a forecast.
Can I talk to Jen for a couple of minutes?
No, I'm answering. I want to stay on topic, and this is a topic in front of us. You're asking questions that have nothing to do with this topic.
This is a related suppose if you don't put it in now, will that be sufficient for us? I'm just trying to help the school. I don't care, if they want 2 million, my vote is going to be yes. Okay, I don't care. So if you want me to, I just want to make educated things to vote on yes or no, or yes or yes,
But I think the 2 million doesn't have, so the 2 million is based on an average percent that the town gives the school. So I guess my question to you is what I don't, maybe I'm not understanding the question,
Yeah,
Jen.
exactly.
Well, I don't, but Jen, do you understand this question?
So can the town afford to pay it, if it
I'm
is?
asking Jen, if you asked her a question, I'm saying I don't understand. I'm asking if Jen understands your question. Because she can't
The
answer.
first question that I understood was that what was the 2.82% based on? It was a reiteration of that question. And the answer to that is it's the average increase over the last 10 years that we gave to the school. The second question that I understood was where does that come from? That comes from the town's portion of the town's allocation to the school. The school has additional sources, just like the town does, to balance their budget, but the largest portion comes from the town. Whether or not we can safely increase any line by a certain percentage over the next few years, it all depends on what the other lines are doing. They all impact each other. So I think if the question is, can the town support 2.82% into perpetuity for the school? I think that answer is, it depends on the override.
Yeah, exactly. That's what my question is. Can we afford to?
So here's what I'm taking from this is that this request to downgrade from 3 to 2 is based on a less conservative estimate of what the town will contribute, based on a good faith estimate based on the last 10 years instead of the previous 1 year. I think that that's a good faith effort by the schools to say, hey, we're willing to take a chance here in doing our part to make sure this gets passed. So the schools are going out on a limb here. So I think that's worthy of note.
So if nobody else has any more questions, I just have a comment. I haven't heard anything yet that justifies any override from the town or the school side. That's what I expect to hear when we do the May 13th. I'm not saying that Jen and Rich don't have those numbers, but they haven't been presented. Nothing's really been presented to us as to this is what's going to happen over the next 5 years, and this is why we need this override. We took this vote based on Jen saying, hey, this is where we think we're going to be. And us as the select board said, we're going to put this on the ballot to let the town decide. If I was to vote on this right now, I couldn't, because I don't know what the shortfalls are going to be and what's going to be made up. And that is what I would expect to hear on the May 13th briefing we're going to get from the finance committee. And Chris said, I find it a little troubling. I know we have plenty of time left, but saying I'm hoping to get some numbers, that better not be a hope. If we expect the town to vote for this, the school side and the town government side should really make sure that the FinCom has every question possible answered, because it's not going to be an easy crowd come the 13th. And if we don't have the answers as to why we need this $4 million, it's going to fail. no doubt about it. So just, tonight, I'm not being asked to make a decision on whether or not I'm going to vote for this. I'm being asked to make a decision to put it on the ballot. And I'm going to get the information between now and election night to make that decision.
So we're basically just hedging our bets here. We don't have the answers to all your questions, Raj.
I totally understand that. It's not like, I don't understand, but my concern is, so if you put a low numbers, so in the down the road, maybe next year, the following year, we may have it. The town may have trouble funding that 2.82% to the schools. So that time the school may suffer. That's what my question is. I'm asking for in a good way. So I'm not going against the schools, or I'm not saying anything on the school why they lowered the things. Anyway, I'm fine. I'm ready to vote on this. My vote is yes.
I'm not.
No. So is there any other, so we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? I think I heard Mark.
Yeah, I just have one. I would just like to reiterate Pat's thing, and we can't use an explanation at any meeting to say, well, we brought it from 5 down to 4. Is that better? If it's a bad explanation, it's a bad explanation. It's going to fail if it's $10. I mean, I think that you need a quality explanation and a valid reason.
That's not in front of us tonight. So this is the modification of the question.
But you let Pat say it, so I figured I'd say it too.
Oh, good. Well, you did.
That sounded better saying it, though.
All right.
I looked at it too.
Nice. All right.
Well,
so any other discussion?
Oh, I guess the question is, does the school really feel comfortable with lowering their idea? I mean, why did they come up with 3 before? What was the 3 based on?
Do you want me to have Rich repeat that? Rich,
Well, I
can you
understand
repeat
what
you
their
said prior to
idea.
I heard just
behind lowering.
internal calculations and assumptions. I think that's the answer.
Yes. I mean, these are projections, and I know, as Jen has touched upon in the previous select board meetings, our numbers were skewed through the COVID years. We had to go back and make some adjustments there. We are projecting in an era of across the board inflation that we're all aware of, that we're all grappling with as well. So these are the best estimates. We've met on this repeatedly. Our numbers have changed based upon a number of variables. Obviously, we would like to, we're hoping this is sufficient, but can we guarantee it? No one can guarantee anything in this current fiscal environment.
Right. No, and the point is that I think initially we had a $6 million thing, and then it came down to 3, and now it's down to 2. Maybe we shouldn't go. Maybe we should be in the middle. That's all. And so I'm hoping that
I trust the school administration to make their best proposal, and if they tell me it's $2 million, then I'm going to accept that.
Okay, me too. I don't want to make a mistake.
I could say the same for the town, like $2 million over 5 years. That's if nothing else happens. So it's a forecast. Things happen. Things could change over the next 5 years. So I can't for the town. I did a sit down. I'm asked the same thing. All right. Did you have another question, Mark?
No, I said I'm ready to vote then. I mean,
any other discussion? Roll call vote. Pat?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Raj?
Yes.
Mark?
yes.
And I am a yes. That is all that was on our agenda. So I will then entertain.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Chris is waving.
Chris,
Chris Berglund from FinCom is waving.
Oh,
Christine, I tried to raise my hand
I'm
earlier,
sorry.
but that's all right. It really doesn't influence the vote, but it does influence comments that Pat and Mark made. I just want to make sure that we're clear on May 13th, because we are not going to be prepared to discuss the numbers behind the override proposal. The Finance Committee is what we're trying to put together as a session that will provide some education to the townspeople, the taxpayers, as to where we currently are in the situation and how we got to where we are over the past 5 to 10 years, and why it doesn't look as optimistic going forward as it may have 5 years ago. But as far as getting behind the numbers of the projections that were prepared by both the town and by the schools, I hope that Jen and Rich will be there to provide some background on that should those questions come up, because we just have not had
Yes.
the information long enough.
And I'm planning to present on it on Wednesday.
And I believe the school is also planning on, school committee's planning on being in attendance to that. I did see an agenda floating around. All right, so I know Jay motioned to adjourn the meeting. Pat, I think, seconded. Roll call, Mark,
Yep.
Raj,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Pat.
Why not? No.
I'm a yes. Have a great meeting, everyone. Thanks, Pat.
Take care. Have a good night.